welcome everyone. This is our 6th session of 8 this week. So we have 2 more sessions tomorrow. We hope that you'll join us for those as well. But at this point, I am going to introduce to you Dan Dusek. He is with Sonyance and a slew of other great brands, but primarily he's going to be focusing on Sonyance today. And Dan, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. And I'm going to give you the floor at this time. I'll turn off my audio and my video and pop back up if questions arise. Okay.
Thank you. Everyone, thanks again for joining today. My name is Dan Dusek. I work with Sonyance and a handful of other brands that Sonyance has under our umbrella, including iPort, James Loudspeaker, and TrueFig. First video I'm going to have will maybe help with everyone to understand a little bit who Sonyance is. It's titled Designed to Disappear, which I'm calling the session, and we'll get into how we hide technology throughout the home, particularly music, and the ultimate degree of invisible we'll talk about a little bit later, which is our new invisible speaker. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here. And
Sonyance was founded by the same people who continue to own the business today. Scott and Jeff realized there was a hole in the audio installation market. People had been installing box speakers into homes for years, but the design didn't always fit the aesthetic of the home. With the goal of moving the speakers out of the room and into the wall, the architectural audio category was born. Over time, we've come to enjoy music by placing a smart speaker in a room. While that's not a bad idea, the speaker often stands out, and the area directly around it can be too loud, while the rest of the house doesn't have enough volume. Installing a pair of large speakers into the ceiling might help clear off the countertop, but it still won't provide the absolute best music experience. This approach is like installing 2 giant lights in the ceiling. While there may be enough light in the room, standing directly under the beam of light is uncomfortable. At Sonyance, we like to think beyond this idea. Just as a great lighting plan provides smooth, consistent light, a great speaker layout provides even, balanced sound. Paying attention to the size, shape, and trim of the lights allows technology to disappear into the architecture. These 2 ideas combined can deliver a truly magical experience. So, whether music softly accompanies your morning cup of coffee, or you turn up the volume for that special party, you can create just the right mood for any moment of your life. There are thousands of choices for bringing music into any space. Sonyance offers audio solutions that are designed to disappear while delivering that magical experience of even, balanced music throughout your home, both inside and out.
so that is a little bit about who Sonyance is. Design and Disappear. The video talked about Jeff and Scott, our 2 founders, still own our company today. We are a family-owned company. We work with many family-owned companies such as Paulson's. But our main philosophy was that technology should disappear into architecture and not impede on it. I know I get very excited about big floor speakers that can deliver big sound. It's impractical for me to be able to put those everywhere throughout my home. And I enjoy music throughout my whole home, especially in areas that we tend to entertain, such as outside, in the kitchen, in the dining room. And having speakers that can completely disappear and not impede on the design is really our focus. We do that with several different product categories. We have speakers that can do home theater, they can do distributed audio, they can be outside, and we can match the lighting. We talked a lot about that in the video. So whether your lighting system happens to be 6-inch or 4-inch or 3-inch, round or square, with bezels or without bezels, we can match that, or we can be truly invisible. And that's our newest product that we just refreshed and launched within the last few days, is our brand new Invisible series. It is truly invisible, and you can really put it throughout your entire home and not have to see anything but deliver incredible audio. My next video here is going to be Todd Ryan, our lead engineer, talking a little bit about this, and then we'll get into the technologies and some of the different models. So. Share this, thank you.
Invisible speakers are the core of our strategy. Designed to disappear, any tagline Sonyance has had over the course of its history, invisible speakers answer that question the best. For Sonyance, it really is a product that, if it was done correctly, if it could reproduce sound with the quality level of a visible speaker, that would truly be the ultimate brand promise. And I think that's why there was so much trust in letting us approach this very methodically and to spend the time to develop something that didn't have a, that it didn't have a set timeline, that it was more important to really develop a product that was above and beyond what has been experienced up to today. Sonyance started with the acquisition of Sound Advance, which was the original invisible speaker manufacturer, because even back then, the people here realized that it was such a unique product and fit our strategy so well. But the sound quality has always been an issue, and dealers have always shied away from invisible speakers because simply because they didn't believe that what the customer would get in the end is something that they would be proud of. So as we started the development of the new Invisible series, one of the things we knew we absolutely had to do was to deliver spectacular bass performance, but do it even if mud was applied over the surface of the speaker. When we started the development of the project and we evaluated the competition, we picked a material for the diaphragm. We did all this work. One of the things we did, which was kind of unusual, but it works for speaker people, which was we divided the speaker up into two parts and said, let's develop a really good wide bandwidth driver. Let's develop a really good woofer. This is the way you typically engineer speakers. They're kind of developed in parts, and then in the end, much like cooking, you kind of bring it together and blend the two things together. And so during this process, we worked on the two parts independently, and then in the end, when they came together, we were using other invisible speakers for evaluation and competitive evaluation, but it became obvious very quickly that their performance wasn't even close to where we are. And so in the end, we're using visible speakers like VP speakers as a competitive benchmark for this product. I have 100% confidence that if these were put behind a screen and you had no idea what was playing, in a million years, you would not guess this was an invisible speaker product, even compared to any of the competition's visible speakers. I know the invisible speaker category, there's been a lot of product, whether it's been our own or one of our competitors' product, that didn't achieve the kind of performance that we're talking about. And there's probably been a lot of people that have made that promise that their sounds just like a visible speaker. And the dealers are very well aware that once they're installed and they hear them for themselves, that they don't generally sound like visible speakers. They sound like a bit of a compromise. In the new Invisible series, there's no compromise in sound performance, and it's completely invisible. To be able to install something that sounds like a visible speaker, that's invisible, it doesn't get any better than that. What we've achieved with this is, it was something that I personally never thought we could get to. We put so much effort into trying to make these the best that they possibly could be. And what we wound up with when in the end even exceeded my goals to some degree. And I think it will be a long time before any of our competitors can equal this level of performance, if ever.
All right, sorry about that. So that is a video from Todd Ryan, our lead engineer, talking a little bit about the invisible. I will go through all the models and some of the parts and the pieces. I was going to ask Emily if there's any questions that came in as I shift over here.
Not so far, but there was one thing that I had come up from a client actually in the showroom when I had brought up about invisible speakers, and they were asking, you know, what does that really mean? And also things like, well, can you put them behind wallpaper? Do you paint over them? Like, what are the logistics of putting in an invisible speaker, and how does it look in the space? And I think, Dan, one thing that you had said to me when we were talking during your interview was, how do you want your sound to look? And so that was something that I know several people had asked me in person that I thought you might want to touch on here.
Absolutely. So how do you want your sound to look has been something we've always asked at Sonyance, because we have solutions for all different applications, very different rooms, different styles of architecture. Of course, we have big 8-inch round in-ceiling speakers that can perform and put out the loudness, the range, the bass that people are looking for. We also have very small speakers that we can also augment with hidden buried subwoofers, you know, and for us, when you talk about even balance coverage like lighting, 2 bright lights can get enough light into the room to be able to see. It's not always comfortable. And so we use that analogy with audio. We can play the music very loud and get really good bass into a room, but it might not always be comfortable. It might always be a little bit quiet in some areas versus others. And by having even balanced coverage in an audio application, even at low levels, we can achieve great bass or have the ability to turn it up. And the degrees of invisibility and how do you want your sound to look is, we truly do have applications for all different kinds. It's not just, do you want an 8-inch round speaker or a 6-inch round speaker anymore? You know, where do you want music throughout the house? And a lot of times we choose not to put technology in certain rooms because we don't want to impede, or, you know, there's in the dining room, a beautiful chandelier and crown molding, and we can provide great audio without impeding on that. So when we ask, how do you want your sound to look? For the first time ever, you probably have a choice in that. And we have various solutions to fit just about every home, every budget, and work with your designer, your architect in various different ways. The truly invisible category, which I'll get into here, in many ways, it works like a drywall patch. I'll show you the installation process as well here. You can paint over them to blend them in. You can wallpaper over them. You can do acrylic Venetian plaster over them. You can do a wood veneer over them. We can accommodate all kinds of different toppings, providing that they're a flexible material. And we'll show you the process there and how much we can accommodate as well to put in front of the speaker without starting to impede on performance.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dan. One of the other things I will mention is that I know that some of our clients are also themselves business owners. And so I just wanted to note, a lot of us are listening to these sessions and thinking about it from a strictly residential standpoint, but that's something that if you yourself or someone that you know is a business owner and they have a space where they welcome clients or guests into, restaurants, financial service offices, anything with a lobby, anything where, sound can set a tone. That's another way that we can bring Sonance into that commercial space and really change the atmosphere with these invisible solutions. So I just wanted to plant that seed with some of the folks, and then I'll let you get back to your presentation.
Awesome. Well, thank you for bringing up that commercial side of the world too. We do work with a lot of commercial partners. I'll name drop a little bit here, right? Louis Vuitton, Coach, Prada, these high-end retailers. When you walk into their store, they don't want you to see technology, right? They want you to see their products, but they also want to create a welcoming environment where there can be audio. So they've been actually using our invisible technology for a long time. I will bring up a little bit of a keynote here, so some visual aids to help. I did want to say too, the invisible speakers I'm talking about right now, these are less than 90 days old. We do have them available at Paulson's right now too, to come on in and listen to. I know I'm going to make some bold claims here, and I really would ask everybody, give me a shot, go have a listen when this is over, and I think you'll be pretty amazed. So let's see here, Keynote. So our new Sonyance Invisible Series speakers, ultimately, why are we making the invisible speakers? The fidelity and performance enhancements that we've made, and here I'll review kind of installation advancements as well, things we've learned, do's and don'ts. When we're putting them into walls, we can run into all kinds of obstacles and some challenges with putting materials over to truly make them blend, and some things that we've advanced along the way to make sure that when they are installed into your home, that they're going to perform to their peak performance. And then go through some of the different models. We don't have just one invisible model. We have a whole bunch of products and some different configurations for both audio and surround sound home theater. So the why the new invisible? It truly fits in Sonance's design philosophy in design to disappear. Invisible speaker is truly the pinnacle of that. In-wall speakers, in-ceiling speakers that we've been making since the 80s have helped, but they just truly weren't 100% invisible like these are. So we spent over the last 2 years developing these. And the technologies that Todd Ryan was talking about got so good, we surpassed any other invisible product out there, and we started to benchmark them against traditional speakers. So ultimately, we wanted to be the leader in the invisible category, and the product that we turned out exceeded all of our expectations. So fidelity and performance, I won't spend a ton of time here on the highly technical, but I can go deeper if you'd like. But clippable laser scanning, we've been using this for over the last 10 years. Clippable distortion analyzation is really a key part for Sonance. Long story short, the laser can measure drivers and ultimately put them through a torture test to see where they start to distort, the bending waves that drivers deliver. We can use it for our products, we can use it for competitor products, and we can understand them a bit more and make changes to design to ultimately give us the best performing speaker that we can achieve, regardless of size. It's great for traditional cone and dome speakers, but ultimately when we went down the road with invisible, we realized it really wasn't designed for flat panel speakers. We really needed to utilize it to get the performance we were looking for. So we made some slight modifications in it to be able to accommodate a panel speaker like the invisible. What we were able to see is basically these diaphragm motions. What we have on the left side is kind of our mid and high frequencies, and on the right side is going to be our bass frequencies. When you're dealing with a flat panel speaker, these things can tend to cancel each other out. When you have a traditional speaker, you have a cabinet that can ultimately isolate these two things. You want them both, but you don't want them to cancel out. So sometimes the compromise is you can get great mids and highs, but lack in the bass. So bending wave motion would be the technology that we're using for our highs and mids, and pistonic motion would be for our low frequencies and our bass. What we've designed to help accommodate these is our inert diaphragm here that can separate the two, making them sound as good as we can. This is going to break apart here and kind of go through it a little bit. So our inert fiber reinforced piece, sorry, my slides are advancing before I'm advancing here. Our wave dry flex unit is going to be our highs and our mids. Our airflex woofer will create a wave chamber. And it'll kind of act like a piston inside of an engine, where out of a 6-inch woofer, we're going to have actually a bigger space to deliver a deeper impact. Our isolating baffle is going to be the piece that will separate those two to keep them from canceling each other out. And our crossover piece will bring those two portions together. And we cross those over at a pretty higher level to be able to give full range of audio from our highs and our mids down into our bass. It also helps us get almost 180 degrees of horizontal and vertical dispersion. So when we talk about coverage, as these are in our ceiling or in our walls, we can be off axis at great angles and still have no idea where the sound and fidelity will be coming from. So just to recap, some of our technologies here, our WaveFlex drive unit will help deliver smooth, accurate mids and highs. Our AirFlex woofer helps deliver punchy bass, giving us true full range response. Our isolating baffle helps reduce the distortion and coloration between those two pieces. And our diaphragm helps keep a flat, consistent, durable, lightweight topping. And our crossover can help pull all those pieces together and help give 170 degrees coverage, both vertical and horizontal. Some of the installation pieces that come together, or questions that always come up, is, well, just how does this work? What are we doing? The easiest answer would be these can go in similar to a drywall patch. So as if we're retrofitting this into a project, or maybe there's older in-wall in speakers that we want to freshen up, we cut open the wall to the according space given the model. We expose a little bit of the 2x4 on either side so we can attach the speaker to it. And then here we go. We apply our first layer of hot mud to start making the drywall patch. And then we'll apply flex tape. And then we apply more compound, and we can do a finish up to or a finish over. Now, finish up to would mean there is a bevel on the edges, and we can do a finish right up to that and then skim coat across. And ultimately, there would be no topping on top of the actual speaker portion. A finish over technology means we can do a full skim coat over. So depending on whatever drywall finish level we're doing, we can smooth that out. We can accommodate up to 3 millimeters of flexible material. Various different finishes can include a drywall mud topping, compound wallpaper, a veneer acrylic-based Venetian plaster, and ultimately anything as long as it's flexible and less than 3 millimeters. And when I say 3 millimeters, that sometimes is, well, how do I know what, how much topping is going on there? And our new Invisible incorporates that. So we're actually able to completely measure how much topping is going on top. We've embedded what we're calling the Sonyance disc system. And in all the corners of the speaker are these discs that we can utilize a depth gauge to understand exactly how much topping is going on top. If there's too much, ultimately the speaker will start to sound, like there's stuff blocking it. So upon installation, you would work with Paulsons and they'd be able to come out and measure how much topping is going on, working with your drywall contractor or whomever, and also with veneers and many other things. What can happen here is, too much topping gets applied and we'll measure, and ultimately it wouldn't pass, right? So we just would need to sand down a little bit more before we do the finished coat and just check all the corners to make sure that we're within spec so the speaker won't sound muffled, and we're good to go. Again, finish thickness is ideally between 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters, but max 3 millimeters. At this point, you can finish however you want, whether that's paint, wallpaper, a veneer, or a Venetian plaster of some sort. We can accommodate typically 16 on center studs, but what we have found is there's a lot of engineered floor joists that are carrying bigger loads for multiple levels, and contractors are bringing those in. And so now we can accommodate 12-inch on center ceilings if that happens to be the case. We have space savers, so if it is new construction, we can block that space, making sure no one's going to put anything where we'd want to put these speakers. We also have noise isolating enclosures. So should you say put these in the kitchen and above would be a bedroom that you just don't want the noise to transfer to, we have you covered there. The noise isolating enclosures will help reduce that sound transfer from room to room. So again, just talking about some of the new installation improvements that we've made. The Sonyance disc system, 12-inch on center, compatible flush up to or flush over finishes, and then all the assortments of accessories that would be needed to make sure your install goes seamless. The models that we have available. Our IS6
Hey,
would be, yes, sorry.
Sorry, could I pause you for just a second? We had a
Absolutely.
question. We had a question that had come in from our submission form that had asked, what does Sonyance offer in the way of amplifiers? So like what's going on behind some of these invisible speakers that we're seeing?
Excellent. We offer a wide variety of amplifiers. Obviously, making the speaker is one portion. We need to amplify it as well. So great question. We do have a variety of from stereo amps to multi-channel amps, depending on how many speakers we're putting throughout the home. And they can range from kind of your basic power amplifier to a full digital signal processing or DSP amplifier. Todd Ryan, who you saw in the video earlier, who is a key part of making these speakers, puts these speakers in various different environments and also builds our amplifiers and sets preset EQ curves to help their peak sound. On top of that, so when you're buying say one of our invisible models along with the DSP amplifier, Todd Ryan's the guy that would preset for an IS6 speaker in the menu, and then every room is going to be different sounding. It could be a brighter room because maybe there's no carpet, or say the kitchen, lots of hard surfaces. The DSP amps allow correction for those room differences. Out of the box, our new invisible speakers sound great flat, and that's actually how our displays are at Paulson's right now. We're doing no special stuff in the DSP, so how you would hear them there would be how they would sound out of the box with a basic amplifier from a home theater receiver to a Sonos amplifier, or you name it. We can then, apply DSP within our amplifiers to make these sound even better, and then add room correction in to make sure that they sound the best within the room they're going in.
Awesome, thank you. There was one other question that had come in, and it was, what is the range of cost per speaker for the invisible speakers? I don't know if you can share that.
I can, absolutely. So the IS6, the model that's on the screen right now is kind of our smallest, I would say, entry-level speaker. Retail on these is $12.50 a pair. And the speaker itself goes, the response for guys that want to know the response, from 50 hertz to 30,000 kilohertz. So it's not quite full audio band, from 50 hertz down, I would say, into that 20 hertz of low frequency is missing. But for most in-wall speakers, you're kind of playing in this range. It's 16 by 16. Again, to make sure that we can span that 16-inch on-center 2x4. The speaker itself sounds fantastic. Depending on the room, you may want to augment it with a woofer. And I'll share in a little bit here. We have invisible woofers as well. So spoiler alert, that is coming. So this would be our entry-level piece. I've had a lot of folks give me some feedback that these are fantastic with a highly popular Samsung Frame TV and a Sonos Connect amp using the arc out of that TV. The TV kind of has the look that clients are looking for in that room, and the invisible speakers being able to completely hide. And when you couple that with, say, the Sonos amp, you're at about $2,000 in audio to completely hide everything within maybe a multi-purpose family room, or not your main home theater, but a room where you want good audio, but you don't want to see any audio.
That's great. And all of the items that you just brought up are all things that we have on display here at Paulson. So you walk in, and right in our lobby is the Frame TV with art up on it. And if you want to watch Netflix, it's one button and we can take you there. And so that's actually something that I've seen us do on projects, is I've seen us use the Sonyance Invisibles or something, a previous version, not obviously the brand new ones, but we've seen some of those architectural speakers, like with a Frame TV in like loft bedrooms or like a guest area, where you may use that as a multi-purpose space. Like if you don't have guests over, it might be like a party space or a lounging space. And then it can also be used as a spare bedroom, things like that. So there's a lot of ways to get really creative with a lot of the things that you guys provide inside and outside. So I'm gonna let you keep going. We don't have any more questions right now. And then hopefully we can hear a little bit on the outdoor as well.
Sure. So the IS6 again would be our jump into invisible. I would say that IS8 is kind of the workhorse of the line. It is the kind of the middle level speaker. It goes lower than 50 hertz, as you can see, down to 40 hertz. It's 16 by 24, so we're going to gain a little bit in its length. But while that sounds like a pretty large speaker, remember, they're totally invisible. At 16 by 24, you're not going to see even a speaker grill on the wall. So they absolutely hide. So, from 16 to 24 inches, a lot of folks are kind of like, well, hey, I'm not even going to see it anyways. And this is going to play down even lower in the bass frequencies. And I might not have to augment that with a subwoofer. To give you an idea, this pair retails at $1,750 for the pair. So not a huge jump over the IS6s, but much better performance. These are the ones that are on display at Paulson's. So if you go in there and ask to hear the invisibles, just to give you an idea, this is the ones you would be hearing. We are also going to make, this one is coming soon, but a commercial version of the IS-8, which would be the IS-8T. What makes it commercial over the standard IS-8 would be that it comes built out of the box with the back box. So it's all one piece, the speaker itself, plus that acoustic back box that I had mentioned earlier. It carries a UL 2043 rating. So if that was a case for your environment, maybe you were living in a condo and to put anything in the wall you needed that UL rating, this would be the product for you. In a commercial world, we need those ratings. And so that's where this goes. It also happens to have a 70-volt transformer inside. A little bit different than our standard traditional speakers, which would be commonly 8 ohm, 6 ohm, 4 ohm speakers. This has a transformer built in and allows you to do lots of speakers, whether it was an airport or any sort of a commercial environment, really long runs without losing power from the main amplifier. On the transformer itself, you would select how much voltage you'd want to deliver the speaker, but there is an 8 ohm bypass. So if we were going to use this in a scenario where we didn't want to do a 70 volt system, we would simply just set the transformer for 8 ohm and use a standard amplifier or one of our DSP amplifiers. So that one's coming with the back box and the transformer. The commercial world goes by each. So these are $1,000 each. So a little bit up from the standard IS-8s, but again, going to have some more parts and pieces to them. The IS-10 is the biggest speaker in the lineup. Goes from 24 inches to 28 inches. And again, is just going to help deliver even more bottom end bass using a 10-inch woofer. And while we have a 6-inch woofer, an 8-inch woofer, and a 10-inch woofer, remember that air chamber inside there is actually going to deliver a pistonic motion that's going to deliver what a bigger driver would traditionally deliver. So 35 hertz to 30 hertz, 30 kilohertz, I'm sorry, is a tremendous full range speaker. It is truly invisible, delivering, a sound where, most people are looking for buried, hidden subwoofers, and it's all coming out of this one piece. 16 inches wide, again, to still fit the standard 2x4s, and we can accommodate up to 12 inches as well on the backside. I had mentioned woofers would also be available. There is an IS-10 woofer. It's the same cutout size as the IS-8. Really, this would be a woofer that you would use with the IS-6s, probably not the IS-8s or the IS-10-inch invisibles, because the range of it is going to kind of be right in line with what those speakers are running full range. It's also a speaker, though, that could be used with other speakers. So, say you had other speakers already in the room and you wanted to add a woofer, but you don't have room to see a subwoofer. You just want to pick up some more bottom end. Maybe you want to add an invisible woofer to a sound bar of some sort. There's various applications where, folks look for more bass, but they don't want to see a subwoofer. Kitchen comes up to mind right away, where we entertain, we have people, we don't have room to put a big subwoofer in the kitchen, and this piece could fit in perfectly. The next woofer we're going to have is a 15-inch woofer, and everyone heard me correct. That is a 15-inch invisible woofer that plays down to 30 hertz. It's 32 by 32. Clearly, with 15 inches of woofer space, we don't have the ability to fit in 69 center 2x4s. So what would happen here on an installation side is you would basically, hopefully it's not a load bearing wall, but you would make a block and cap the top and the bottom, and this would fit right in and get puttied and patched, and be completely invisible. That is the lineup of the invisibles. I did say earlier that you know, we can use these in home theaters. We can use these in for music. In the past, we only said music. In the past, we said you have to use our DSP amps. It was such a big curve where if you wanted them to sound decent at all, you had to use a DSP amp to make them work. Our new series, we can use for home theater. We can use for music. We don't have to have crazy DSP amps to make them sound decent. If you hear the invisible pair that's at Paulson's right now, you'll see out of the box that they're doing quite well just on their own. And then here's some more home theater recommendations. So on the left here would be kind of our IS6 surround system. We have a left, center, right with 2 woofers and 2 surrounds. I have had folks ask about using these for Atmos channels as well. Maybe you have a home theater already, but you're interested in adding Atmos channels. But again, you don't want to see anything up there. IS6s would work wonderful for Atmos channels. The system in the center is the better kind of option, utilizing the IS8s for 5-channel surround with a woofer, sorry, 5-inch woofer. And then the best system on the far right there would be our IS10s doing a 5-channel surround with 2 15-inch woofers. So lots of different configurations. Here's a kind of a snapshot of all of the parts and the pieces and models. So the IS6, the 8, the IS10, the 10-inch woofer are all now shipping. And the 2 pieces that are still to come would be the 15-inch woofer and the commercial IS8T.
Hey, Dan, can I have you pause for just a second?
You got it.
We had a couple questions. One was Maurice was asking if we have a sample system of these things at Paulson's, and yes. So if you want to stop into the showroom, in our conference room, actually, which is where I'm sitting right now, our lovely conference room, you will come in and you will absolutely not see our Sonyance speakers in here. We have in walls, and then we also have sub. And what's great about this room is that it kind of shows a complete system that we're one example of a complete system that we can do. So we have, I believe we have a frame TV on the wall. We have a Control4 system in the room. So you walk in, you push one button on the wall and it goes into music mode and it'll turn music on. It'll change the chandelier and the sconces, or we hit presentation mode. It'll turn on the TV, hook it up to the computer, get that fired up, turn the music off. So all of that stuff is integrated together and you can come in and play around to your heart's content in our conference room. And actually, Dan, that's a good lead into another question that had come through from our submission form. Which was, can you control Sonyance products with a home control system such as Control4?
Absolutely. You know, we Control4 is a fantastic system to be able to control all things of your home. We're just one of the parts and the pieces creating the audio side. So as you said, yeah, one button push, you're changing lights, you're changing shade position, you're starting music. We absolutely do work with Control4 and various other control systems out there.
Awesome. Cool. I will let you know if any other questions come in, but I'll let you loose again. Thanks.
Awesome. That does wrap up most of the stuff I had on Invisible. You had asked about sharing some outdoor audio. I would love to. Let me just stop sharing the screen here. And we had a unique piece come up in the outdoor audio world called our Omni 6T. We have outdoor solutions that range all over the place. We have traditional speakers that you would mount to a structure like your side of your house and produce audio out into the yard. We have landscape systems, 3 different ones from Sonyance, from a patio that would cover about 1,000 square feet, which I believe is one of the grand prize for Paulson's Music Matters. We have a garden system in between that covers about 2,000 square feet. And both of those systems can be doubled up to cover double the square footage. So patio can go from 1,000 to 2,000. Garden system can go from 2,000 square feet to 4,000 square feet. And then we ultimately have the Sonyance landscape system, which can be an infinite amount. I think last year, the biggest system I did within the central market here was 86 satellite speakers and 20 some odd subwoofers in someone's backyard. Big backyard, obviously, and it sounded fantastic. With James loudspeaker joining our mix, we've also added some more new products that we'll be coming out with as well. High output towers outside that can deliver concert level volume that are completely custom made for your application. James has a wedge speaker as well that can go right up into the eave. It can be custom cut to whatever we need to fit your application. Outdoor sound bars would be another one, an infinite amount of subwoofers ranging from 8-inch to a full 21-inch sub for outside. But another piece that Sonyance came out with that's really exciting that we've been in the midst of having for a while is our Omni Speaker. I'll show that one to you here too. This can complement just about any of those audio systems that I had just mentioned here. I'm just going to pull up our webpage here to show the Omni and exactly what it is, but it's a full range SAT. It has a 6.5-inch woofer that upfires and 4 omnidirectional side firing speakers to give full 360-degree sound. So, maybe there's a system over by a fire pit away from the patio that you also wanted to add some music, or, selfishly, I think of my own home, right? I might want to put 1 or 2 of these up by the front door. So when we're out front on the driveway with our little guy, we have music out there. But rather than in the backyard, music from the perimeter firing towards the house, we'd want to fire away or fill in a big space. So the Omni 6T is now shipping. It's like the commercial Invisible, it has a 70-volt tap setting in here, but we can also set it to 8-ohm bypass. They're $400 each, so they're not crazy expensive to fill in some areas of the backyard with outdoor audio.
Sorry, I'm unmuting and unhiding. Cool. Well, so Maurice had asked, and I'm not sure, you might know what he's asking, but I'm not completely sure. He said, does it need AV? Like, would they work with the Yamaha AV? And I'm not sure if he's talking about the Invisibles or if he's talking about outdoor.
Sure, I can answer that regardless. Yes, they'll work with the AV Yamaha piece. So the patio and the garden system can be purchased with an amplifier from Sonyance, one of the DSP amps that I had mentioned earlier. Or they can be purchased without, and you could use a Yamaha AV or a Sonos Connect amp as well. And same with the Omni, whether it's invisible or outdoor, absolutely.
Great. Something that I wanted to touch on, over the past year, I know nobody wants to talk about COVID, but over the past year, a lot of our clients and some of the folks who are on the call, I know, have done some pretty cool things inside their homes. A lot of people found right at the beginning, when all of a sudden we were all working at home and learning at home, that all of a sudden we realized our networks were substantial enough to carry the weight of what we needed them to do. So a lot of our folks started with that, making enhancements to that, and maybe they did some things inside around, the TV and home theater. Maybe they put some speakers in. And now I think that, and I'm hearing from some of our clients that they did those kind of first step things to make home, more fun. And this is something that I've recently started using, is at Paulson's, we make home your favorite place to be. And whether you like it or not, but because we've all been kind of forced there. But something I think that Sonyance offers is with the Invisibles, I think that gives us a lot of flexibility with our space, because I think you and I had been talking before about how until we know something is possible, we don't think about it. And so not thinking about, being able to have audio in areas of your house where you don't want a bookshelf or you don't want something sitting on the floor. Now that you know that that's possible, or that it can be as invisible as you guys have made it, that just opens up a whole new world of opportunities to bring, not only music, but, podcasts and audiobooks and things like that all throughout your space for yourself, for your family. So I really love the Invisible series because it really hits home with the term solution. We talk about solutions at Paulson's, but it's a real solution to some limitations that people either perceive that they have or have always thought that they have. So I love that. And I appreciate you going through that and showing us really the quality behind it, that it's not just designed to disappear, it's designed to perform. So I appreciate that. We had a phone call. I see the word wireless and I'm like, cell phone. We had a question come in that says, are there any wireless speaker products for outdoor?
That's a good question. I think the answer would be no from Sonyance, in the fact that we need speaker wire out to the speakers to our amplifier inside. But from a wireless side and being able to play music, yes. So I can absolutely be sitting outside, whether it's Control 4 or Sonos or any of the other various pieces, and wirelessly and be able to play music. So I think it's a yes and a no question, but or answer. No, we do need wire from the speakers to the amplifier inside, but from that equipment rack, everything can be wireless, and Paulson's can help make that seamless and easy to use.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that question, Phil. And that's something I wanted to touch on as well. And Dan, you and Sonyance were incredibly generous in donating the patio series set to us for our giveaway. We are so excited about that. And we've had folks stopping in and saying, oh, can I take a peek at that just in case I win it? Can you show me how this thing works just in case I win it? So there's definitely a lot of people who are vying for that. That said, that system and really all of the outdoor systems, I think that's another direction people are going to go as spring comes on. We have a lot of clients who are already booking their spring projects, so we're already booking out into that time frame. To now that we've got the house kind of squared away for the most part, some folks are looking to their backyards and to their outdoor spaces, gazebos, pool areas, all of those things, to make those really fun and enjoyable, either on the side of we're still kind of hunkering down. We're not going to be going out much. So let's make sure that we can party outside and have a good time. Or we're going to start entertaining a little bit again. We want to utilize the outdoor spaces so that everyone is at a comfort level. So let's make it fun for that purpose as well. So we're excited about giving away one of those packages, but also I know that we're going to have lots of projects this spring where we're integrating those Sonyance outdoor options. So we're really excited about that.
We are too. I'm excited to get outside a little bit, do safe entertaining, and it's. I put one of our outdoor systems in last spring, and I'm still using it, even though we still have a little bit of snow outside. When it's there, and to tag onto the wireless side from my phone, being able to start a playlist up, even if I'm running outside to the grill for a few seconds because it's cold, I can have music instantly playing there.
Yeah, that's so fun. I know that just makes a complete difference when, even if you're just playing outside in the backyard with the kiddos, or sitting and having a beer and a cigar on the deck, or however you enjoy your space, music and audio can always enhance that. So if anyone has any final questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I haven't seen any come up since that last one. And Dan, is there anything that you would like to add before we kind of start to wrap up?
No, we're excited. Thank you for having me today. This new format is still new for me. I'm used to doing these events and being able to have a playlist to play for everybody. So I really hope folks can make it by to hear the invisibles that we talked about today. We also have the ability to bring the kit out to you, should you like that instead of coming to Paulson's. If there's anything else I can help with, just let me know.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're absolutely happy to go do on-site surveys, and you've made it really easy for us by providing that equipment for us to go and demo and kind of help someone visualize and feel what something will be like in their space. So thank you, Dan. Chris Paulson, anything from you before we wrap?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for attending. We've had a lot of sessions and I've seen a lot of names at every one of them. So we appreciate everybody's time and efforts. Obviously, thank you to Dan too for imparting all this knowledge upon us and everything that you brought to the presentation. It was a great event and, you know, a great session that we've gone through. So hopefully we'll see you all again at the next ones.
Thank you, everybody.